I have for like a year or two wanted to just say screw it and then start up like a separate little spin-off show where we only post like once a week or twice a week, but like really straightforward content that's not time pressing, but separate finance related content where I don't have to ramble about this kind of thing. Now, we hope to not go like super dry with anything, but most of it's probably going to be like reacting to really stupid things that we find, like stupid finance bros on TikTok and Twitter. Like this guy. We'd be reacting to this guy. Let me show you. Okay? This thing's hilarious.
What if I told you there was a way to buy things like this $100,000 watch without spending a single dollar of your own money, using business credit like this?
Now, how many felonies do you think he's about to accidentally confess to? I'll give you a hint. A lot. And he has no idea. He's trying to tell you straight up how you can buy a $100,000 watch. A watch more expensive than many people's houses, okay? He's trying to like announce, and I know people like in the US houses are more expensive. There's places elsewhere in the world, okay? But he's gonna just describe how he has gone and presumably bought the jewelry, how he's paying for this like house he's renting, all of this. Just wait, because it's, dude, it's so bad. And it gets worse and worse.
That you never actually had to pay back.
Oh, he's gonna show us how to buy it and then never pay it back.
Using business credit like this, that you never actually had to pay back. Not to the average person, guys. This sounds crazy, but any business owner knows how this works. You know how personal credit works.
I'm a business owner. I own a few businesses. Walk me through it, because I'm not sure what he's about to say.
Let's say, for example, you will get a car or a credit card in your personal name. You're personally held responsible for that. So if you were to go get a credit card in your personal name and you were to go max the card out, you're going to be held liable. And if you don't make that payment back, the bank could come and sue you. Now, what
I mean, yeah.
makes us different about business credit? With business credit, you are not personally held responsible for that line of credit.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? Okay, what he's basically trying to describe and what he's gonna use as a defense for all of this is a gross misunderstanding of like corporate protections, okay? When you, in the US, you can file like, let's just say this is me. Yay. And then I can make all of these LLCs, which are just limited liability companies, basically limited liability corporations, whatever. And so you can build up all of these. And then if something happens where this one gets sued or there's an injunction against it, there's just something that happens with this guy, in theory, that's shielded, or rather I'm shielded from like people going after this LLC being able to come in and go after me because it's a separate thing. So you can sue this company, but you're not going to get over to me because they're separate. The problem is that only works. There's something called the corporate veil you might have heard of. The corporate veil only exists so long as you have done pretty much everything by the books, okay? Like you have to, of course, be paying all of your taxes. You have to treat your business as a separate thing. You have to demonstrate your business is a separate thing that's doing independent operations from what you would be doing in your personal life. If I, for example, have an LLC and then I go and I put like my mortgage on it, or I go and I put like all of my clothes and I'm buying all of my regular day-to-day clothes, and then me and the kids go off to the movies and I put the movies on the company card and all this. What I'm doing is I'm like, that pierces the corporate veil. That tears it open because I'm not treating the business as a separate entity from myself. You know what else would suggest that you're not treating your business as a separate entity from yourself? If you bought a freaking watch.
So let's say, for example, how I got this watch. I was able to open a business that I didn't really give a shit about.
Okay, that's okay. So he's starting to confess. Buckle up.
I went and opened business credit cards in that account. I then proceeded to go on, buy this for $100,000. I'm going to turn around and sell it to a jeweler for $80,000 in cash.
Okay, so real quick, He's saying that he went and got American Express cards, which earlier you saw him hold those up. The thing about Amex cards, I have a few of these. They don't have credit limits, which is weird if you've never had a credit card like that. But basically, there's no limit to what you can spend on these. You could just keep going. Okay. My old boss literally built his like multi-million-dollar house charging only this, like his whatever Amex Platinum, whatever. So, like these things are usually a little expensive. They have like a $500 annual fee. Like they're expensive cards, but they have really nice rewards. And if you have good enough income, it ends up paying for itself. And one of the perks of having no credit limit is that you can basically do whatever you want. Like you could just walk up and buy a $50,000 Rolex on it one day, and it would, in theory, be fine. They can block certain charges, but honestly, I have not come across a charge that they would block. So presumably this is how he's doing it, is he opened these Amex business cards, business credit cards, underneath multiple LLCs like I was describing. So if he's got all these, he's saying that he went and opened up like a separate card for each of these. And then when this card maxes out, because he spends 100,000 on this guy, he just goes and shutters the business, doesn't ever pay this back, shuts the business down, never pays taxes on it. It never had income. It never did anything. And then he walks away and boom. Yeah, that debt was for that business. That business doesn't exist. So I'm good. But again, there's only a shield here if nothing has pierced that corporate veil. And buying a watch is something that would. And then also making a freaking TikTok video describing how you never gave a crap about the business and how you understand that you're never going to pay it back. He says you don't give a crap about it and you don't have to pay it back. That is fraud, ladies and gentlemen. That is fraud.
Sell it to a jeweler for $80,000 in cash, which
now what he just said is just another bullet pointed felony, I'm pretty sure, allegedly, of course. What he's saying is that he's going to buy this watch for 100K, not even keep it, but he's going to then take this, sell it for 80, and then he's going to pocket that 80,000. That's not just a piercing the corporate veil. That is like a samurai sword going straight through it. There's no veil left. The veil is dead. He murdered it.
Gives me the cash. I'll file bankruptcy on the company. I'll never have to actually pay it back because I'm not personally liable.
That little swallow, he thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's brilliant.
In cash, which now gives me the cash. I'll file bankruptcy on the company.
Brilliant.
I'll never have to actually pay it back.
So smart.
Because I'm not personally liable for that American Express card.
Sure
it's
are.
all liable underneath my business. It's all weird to explain in one video, but guys, if you're interested in getting involved in this and you can use some extra easy money now, I want you to go to Instagram.
Yeah, thank you for blocking that off. Yeah, of course he's got Instagram and he's probably selling a course or two. Now, to be fair to everybody involved, I'm pretty sure that this guy doesn't have any money. I don't think he's doing anything. My guess would be he's got rich parents that probably own this house and that they've bought him whatever he wants. And then he has that stuff and then he just makes up stuff because he's a dumbass. And then he tries to make it out like he made this money and he's done all of this because he's super savvy. But what's terrifying is that he put this out. And I know you guys are smart because you, of course, follow this. You follow this channel. But many young people would fall for this and could end up trying this, which is why I think it's important that we make good fun of this. Now, he posted a follow-up. Do you want to see the follow-up?
Serious.
The follow-up is basically just, it's a prank, bro, lol.
The funniest part about this whole video is how many of you guys thought I was being serious. You had to be fucking stupid to believe that you can open a brand new business, get American Express, and be able to spend $100,000 without any history on the business or any of that kind of shit. I was trolling another TikTok video I saw, and y'all blew it up like I knew what fucking happened. And now everyone's commenting, fraud this, fraud that, fraud this. But there's no proof for me for anything because it was all complete bullshit.
X to doubt on that one. Don't find that for a second. It almost sounds like he's reading off word for word what people are saying. Like,
I thought I was being serious. You had to be fucking stupid to believe.
And then what he's about to describe was probably a comment saying, bro, that doesn't really work because you can't just get an Amex without any history of income, blah, blah, blah.
That you can open a brand new business, get American Express, and be able to spend $100,000 without any history in a business or anything.
Also, is that watch 100 grand? Can you imagine spending 100 G's on a stupid looking watch like that? Man, I cannot fathom it. I've said for a while, like once my net worth passes $1 million, I will like reward myself for years and years and years of work. And I'm going to get myself a basic ass Rolex, not like a $100,000 Rolex, but like, you know, the $5,000 or $6,000 Rolex that I can keep and pass down to my kids and stuff. Cause I just think that that's really cool, having a really, really nice watch and timepiece. But I understand that that's outrageous. But like I said, it's only something I want to do once I reach a certain threshold in my life. But buying a stupid little, like this looks, you know what this looks like? I know exactly what this looks like. Do you guys remember back in like 2000, probably 5 at McDonald's, they had these watches that were given away inside of the Happy Meals. You remember these? Dude, these things were so badass. These things were awesome. Oh man, I thought it was so cool having those. I remember wearing those around too. That's basically what this looks like to me. that's what that is. If I were a business savant like this guy, and I just had all of the Amex credit cards to commit fraud with, maybe I would go and buy a watch like that. Jeez, dude. But that, I mean, again, that just, it makes me think that he probably just has rich parents, and then he was trying to make it look like he was a really smart business guy that had all of these strategies. And clearly, I mean, nobody thinks that this guy's actually playing 4D chess and convinced everybody to buy into a prank. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank. Just confess to committing multiple felonies, but whatever. Lol, got you. Let's watch this really, really cringe video. Okay, one more. We got plenty. One more. You ready? He is the youngest billionaire right now. Get ready. Okay, bear in mind, 5,000 likes. There are 5,000 children, small human beings, that saw this video and thought it was so good and compelling that they chose to expend the energy to press that like button and to share it. Some of these shares might be from like people memeing on it, but still, like, that's crazy, dude. It's a Hassan Abi lookalike, kind of. Okay, let's see.
Youngest billionaire in the world right now.
What's your net worth now?
I can explain this in a way that might sound crazy. I'm a billionaire.
Okay, yeah, please explain it to me in a way that might sound crazy.
Might sound crazy. I'm a billionaire. Let's think about it. Does a billionaire have a liquid $1 billion in his bank account?
No.
Okay, so
No.
Is he actually a billionaire? No. Like liquid
Yes, he is, because he has assets and equity. When you balance it out with his liabilities, his total equity, his assets come out to over $1 billion. It's not that complicated. If you're saying like liquid billionaire, hopefully there's no liquid billionaires out there, because a billionaire does not become a billionaire by having $1 billion cash sitting in a checking account. And if you think that that's a thing that should happen, you just proved to me once and for all that you don't know anything or anywhere near enough stuff about money to ever be a billionaire. So,
billionaire. No, I'm not a liquid billionaire yet. Probably will be mathematically soon. But I'm
mathematically soon. Okay.
a billionaire because number one, let's just say I can make 500 to $1 million a month. That's like 12 mil a year. You do
500 to $1 million a month. You know it's real because he said mil. Oh my God, he has a Bitcoin necklace. Okay, all of this makes so much sense now. It's all coming together. Oh, it's all coming together. Okay.
Number one, let's just say I can make 500 to $1 million a month. That's like 12 mil a year. You do like a money calculator since it's like a hedge fund.
You got to do like a money calculator since it's a hedge fund style thing. I don't think this guy could explain what a hedge fund is if you paid him $1 million a month.
Style thing. We're already in the hundreds of millions. And then other businesses, I'm a Web3 wealth manager now. Like I own a hedge fund and manage money for people. If I went today and was like, I have this huge opportunity, everyone give me $500,000 that can afford. Probably could raise about $50 to $100 million right there. So as far as the money calculator thing, my net worth is over $1 billion. Hopefully $1 trillion soon.
Oh my God. The world's richest man doesn't even have $200 billion. Jeff Bezos for a while did, and then he got divorced and his wife took half. So, oops. But for this guy to think that he's going to be a trillionaire soon, he's got to be trolling, right? I mean, his name is Mayo.
That's like 12 mil a year. You do like a money calculator since it's like a hedge fund style thing. We're already in the hundreds of.
You do a money calculator thing since it's like a hedge fund style thing. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so you make number one. He never gets to number two, by the way. He just says number one, but he never gets to number two. I can make $500,000 to $1 million a month. That's like 12 million a year. Good math right there. $1 million a month, 12 million a year. He really has it figured out. You do like a money calculator since it's like a hedge fund style thing. We're already in the hundreds of millions. How? There's a pretty big gap in where you started with that description of your technique and where we ended up. Pretty big gap, dare I say, one of the complicated parts. One of the most important parts. He just kind of skipped over a little bit. Just quickly. Okay, let's do money calculator thing. Okay. I think maybe what he was trying to say is like you take 12 million at let's do I don't know if this calculator will even go this high. It will. Okay. If we go 12 million, let's do 6% interest, number of periods. I'm assuming it's an annual period. Yeah. Compound per year. Let's just do 12 and then payments. Let's take zero money out, 6% number of periods. Let's let it go for 20 or for 40 years. I mean, after 40 years, you could be passing into the $100 million range. But it's going to take you 37 years. But I guess, you know what? Let's do this. Let's be fair. If he's making 12 million a year, oh, this doesn't make you put the negative in. In like financial calculators, you have to put it in negative or otherwise it doesn't work. So for this, after 30 years, 31 years, if you were making $12 million a year, every year, investing that, the payments, yeah, are annually. Okay. You're investing that annually. Okay. Yeah. You could get to a billionaire after 31 years. Is that what he meant? Is that what he meant? Like,
and then other businesses. I'm a Web3 wealth manager now. Like
Web3 wealth manager now. How many brain cells in the like would you need to give this guy your money and expect to have more of it in the future? Probably, you know, somewhere in the double digits IQ. Probably. Like, this stuff is not that. Whenever anybody makes something as complicated as finance sound this simple, you should know that they are totally full of crap. Totally full of crap. Like, wealth management stuff is very nuanced. There's a lot of moving pieces to this. There just are. There's tons of strategies that go into it. There's mathematics. Like, if you ask this guy who says he's a money manager, if you asked him, like, okay, what is, for example, a Sharpe ratio? What does this tell me about these different strategies or these different assets? This strategy right here, believe in big tech from Composer. This one's performed very, very well if we go back 3 years, 132% return over the S&P, which is only at 48%. But if we look at these and we say like, believe in big tech, Sharpe ratio of 0.94 versus SPY 0.8, what does that tell us? Does it tell you anything? I doubt he would tell you because I don't think he knows. I think he's a dumbass. And like, listen, I don't know everything about finance. The difference between me and this guy though is that I'm not going to pretend as though I do. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I'm actually a billionaire right now. Cuz like this guy performs so many little leaps and little dodges. I'm the youngest billionaire
in the world right now.
What's your net worth now?
I can explain this in a way that might sound crazy. I'm a billionaire. Let's think about it. Does a billionaire
If you have to explain it in a way that makes you sound crazy, I just think you're not a billionaire. Because I think a billionaire is like, yeah, I'm a billionaire. Yeah. What's your net worth? $1 billion. pretty straightforward. I have a finance major and still don't understand it. To be fair, a lot of it is if you're using it frequently, then you'll understand it. That makes sense. But like if I took calculus back in college, do I remember calculus? Would I be able to do like a calculus problem right now? Like, no, I don't know. I could catch up on it. I could refresh on it and be able to do it, but I haven't done a calculus problem in years at this point because I just never use it. Billionaire would not be so open about his money income, red flag. Well, I think a billionaire would just tell you, yeah, I'm a billionaire. I own like a third of X company. Like it would just be like, yeah, no, that's how I made $1 billion. Like billionaires, and I've met a couple, so I don't have a huge pool of exposure or experience with this, but in my experience, hyper wealthy people are actually very chill. And you wouldn't know that they're hyper wealthy with just like meeting them on the street. Like you really wouldn't. My old boss, I don't know exactly what, well, one of my old bosses, I don't know exactly how wealthy he is, of course, but at least in the hundreds of millions. And he was very, very, I mean, just a super sweet guy, but all of his clothes were like 30, 40 years old. And he was like one of the most penny pincher people you've ever met. He would come in and he only got, like he made the office, the one purchase the office on the first floor got to make for that year was to get a new Keurig cup coffee maker. And then he would go and drive all the way to Costco and get the big bulk box of Costco K-cups to make his coffee every morning. Just because he really, really liked his cheap coffee. He didn't like people going to Starbucks. If you went into a meeting, this is something one of my like coworkers told me. He's like, if you ever go into a meeting with him, don't bring like a Starbucks cup, like a big venti Starbucks cup. He's like, he might not say anything, but it makes him very uncomfortable. And when he sees you knowing that you're not making the money he is, and he sees you spending $7 on a coffee, he thinks less of you. He's like actually going to like kind of demote you in his mind. And like, that's how he was. But he was a super sweet guy. Super sweet. His house had like 2 or 3 elevators. Like, that's the level of wealth we're talking about, okay? Like, he was doing very, very well. But if you met him on the street, he just looked like some, like, kind of 70-year-old dude walking around. You wouldn't think anything of it. And in my experience, that's how most of them are. Very few of the hyper wealthy people out there are like this guy. I've never met somebody like this guy. Even the younger guys that I worked with who were well off, one guy I remember we did a deal with, he was buying like I think, how much was it? It was like a $4 or $5 million building in Boulder, Colorado. So a nice building, you know, to buy this, he had to have $1 million cash. So like he went in and like, he was doing very well for himself. But even he just wore like jeans and then like a basic polo. Like if you had told me that he was like just a Starbucks barista on his lunch break, I would have believed you. Like he did not look like he was actually a multi-millionaire, but super chill. Super chill. So whenever you see somebody like this, they're posing, they're trying to look like they're super rich, which is the number one sign that they're probably not rich.
Have a liquid $1 billion in his bank account.
No.
Okay, so is he actually a billionaire? No. Like liquid billion.
Yes. Notice how quickly he just tosses in. So is he actually a billionaire? No. Well, yes. Sure is. What are you talking about? But like this is all we're talking about when people are talking about net worth. Like total assets equals liabilities and owner's equity. Like this really. Or like assets minus liabilities equals equity. So if you want to know how many assets, you add liabilities and equity. If you want to know total equity, you know, it's assets minus liability. You just like, it's a pretty simple equation. It's not that hard to understand. Pretty straightforward. Assets, what you own. Liabilities, what you owe. Equity, what you get. Like your actual true ownership. It's one of the most basic functions in all of finance mathematics is this little thing here. And this guy seemingly has no grasp on it whatsoever. He's just like, well, if you don't have $1 billion in liquid cash, then you're not a billionaire. So nobody's a billionaire. You do like a money calculator since it's like a hedge fund style thing. Yeah, again, I don't think he would know. Like if you asked him, why is it called a hedge fund? Why is it called a hedge fund and not just a fund or an investment fund? Why is it a hedge fund? I don't think he could tell you. He took my thing.